All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So this is 48 hours with the OnePlus 10 Pro 5G. So I'm going to go ahead and be honest here right out the gate and say I wasn't expecting to be this pleased with this device, and I honestly thought I'll already be considering it a catch and release. But there's so much to like about this phone. For me personally, it really impressed me. So a lot of people have been talking about the color. I've been talking about the color myself. Colors on phones, people say, you're just going to cover it up anyway. Well, you're right. I am going to put a case on it. That's for protection when I leave the house. But in the house here, I don't cover my phones up as much as possible. So this, to me, stands out the most. This hardware is absolutely great. Way better than I thought it was going to be. So when I look at this, I think this is a beautiful display. Someone asked about my display settings, I think, in another video. So let me show you where my display settings are. Here you go. It's going to be all the way up. I got bright HDR video mode. I got quad HD on. I've got the high resolution on. This is where it's been. So those are my display settings, and my brightness is set to auto. So this is a beautiful display, no doubt. 6.7 inches coming in at 1440 by 3216. And I think that gives us like 500 and some odd pixels, 525. That is a bunch of pixels, and you can really tell when you're viewing things on this device. Now, let me switch over to what some consider a con, which is the price. I don't consider the price too much of a con because the Pixel 6 Pro dropped, and people are still complaining about bugs. This device, no problems right out the gate. It's the same price. It's got 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM and 5,000 milliamp hour battery. This device has been performing flawlessly, and it got an update right out of the box, which took it up to March or April. Let me see where I'm at. I think I'm on March. Let's go about device here. Software's up to date. Yeah, March 5th security patch. Android 12, as you can see here. So this is just a good thing altogether. And then I also have the RAM Plus turned on right here, as you can see. And some people say, I wouldn't turn on the RAM Plus. It just soaks up some of your storage. Okay, well, it's 128 gigs of storage. I don't have that much that I'm using at the moment. I've recorded a couple of videos with this. This is a lot of storage left. Now, I think 128 storage should be the baseline. And I think all phones now, especially if they're over $200, should come with 128 gigs of storage. So you're probably thinking, dang, Jay, that's low for a price. There's plenty of phones out there that cost $350, $300, $299, and they have 128 gigs of storage. You see, so it doesn't matter if they're considered a high-end or flagship, because most of those phones are not. They're technically lower in price or mid-tier, what somebody would argue for them to be. And they have 128 gig space storage. Now, for me personally, I think it was a little unfair to bring this in at $899 at 128 with 8 gigs of RAM. Well, the RAM, not so much. The storage. For a phone like this that's considered flagship or high-end, I think all so-called high-end devices, flagships, should have 256 gig base. And that is just based on other phones that are not considered flagships, and they simply have 120 gigs of storage, or some have 256. It's incredible. So storage isn't expensive either for the OEMs. I've had conversations with OEMs, and they're like, no, it doesn't cost a lot to do this. I go, why won't you do it? Well, I don't think the market, yeah, sure, come on, man, come on. You're doing it to upsell us. Because it would be really a shame. So there's like an ultra version of this one. It's white, and it has 512 gigs of storage or 256, something like that. But you can't buy it in the U.S. It was only released over in China, so that's what it is, and it only costs $1,000. Now you're probably saying only, but yeah, you get another color and you get more storage. Same phone, but the difference is it's running on straight color or whatever this is, Oxygen OS or the Oppo skin or whatever. That's what it has on there. Now you could obviously skin it, but price is important to people, and I understand why some people don't like this device at $899. So I feel like it should have come in with 256 gigs of storage at least, just to try to overstep or kick Google in the butt. Because to me this is one of Google's direct competitors. And honestly, folks, I'm Team Pixel, but this device is giving me no problems whatsoever in comparison to the Pixel 6. And I'm not saying I'm having problems with the Pixel 6. I'm just saying in general, I'm not having any problems with this one at all. And the Pixel 6, I did start to have some problems. So, coming in at the same price point right now, this is looking pretty tight if you compare it next to the Pixel 6. Now, some people are going to say, well, Jay, you get better cameras on the Pixel 6. And a lot of you guys are just reading that on paper. The Pixel 6 to me takes the best portrait shots, but we all know the Pixel 6 doesn't have the best video. And then this phone right here takes really good portrait shots and it takes great video. The video on this thing is sick. Now, what's the flip side of that? Flip side is the front display, the front camera is still capped at 1080p, 30 frames per second. So again, there should be some standards. There should be a benchmark. And I'm not saying the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the benchmark. I'm just saying this phone can record in 4K 60 on the front and the rear. I mean, come on. So I just want, if companies are going to start labeling these as their flagships or high-end devices, give it all you got. Go ahead and give it all you got and throw something at us to, just make it good, make it appealing. Because Android is just crowded. The Android market for phones is crowded. It is overloaded with Android phones. You can technically walk into a grocery store or a gas station and walk out with an Android phone, technically. So with this phone coming out, with a 1080p recording, now I'm not saying the front camera is horrible, but it for sure isn't as good. It's for sure not as good as the rear camera. The rear camera is absolutely stunning. The rear camera is great. And I mean, it's just, the quality is just sick. It is really good. So that's something to be desired on the front camera. Now, the front camera does have EIS, so that's a huge plus. But, still, it's capped at 1080p 30. It does have auto HDR or whatever, but that's good. So it sounds like I'm just reading specs, but I'm talking about things that I am encountering with this phone because I've shot video with the front and the rear, taken tons of photos in the last 2 days and just been doing things with family and friends. And I'm like, man, these cameras are great on the rear. The front camera, not so much. So this display, I talked about it earlier, it gets up to 1300 peak for the nits. And it's HDR10 plus, which is just ridiculous. Now with that, we lean over to battery. Now I'm only going on 3 days in with this device, technically. I'm going on my third day, technically. So the battery probably is still learning its way, but it is definitely not feeling like a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Yeah, I paused for dramatic effect. It's not feeling like a 5,000 milliamp hour batteries inside of this thing. It's just not. Now, to be fair, I've been getting in and out of the car and I've been popping it on the charger when I get in the car to listen to music and stuff like that. But it was charged 7 hours ago. I got 1 hour and 15 minutes of screen on time, and it's telling me it can last about a day and 4 hours. Now you're going to say, wow, that's great. It could be great. It could be. But I'm expecting a little bit more. Because this, I do have, now, to be fair, I do have it set at the highest resolution for the display. But I don't run my displays at full brightness. I run them on auto. So if it gets real bright, it gets real bright. If it doesn't get real bright, it doesn't get real bright. So right now it's in a pretty bright, I got these bright LEDs going from over here and over here. And so the screen's not going to go up to its full brightness. Let me see if I can show you where it's right here. It's kind of just over the middle. So, it's gotta be the display and it's still learning my position on how I'm going to use it because it took the S22 Ultra maybe about a week and it really kicked in with great battery. Now, let's be clear here. No battery at the moment on a quote unquote high-end device can truly touch the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And people tend to always bring this phone up. They bring it up a lot. No phone is really touching this device for battery at the moment. And that's just what it is. It's put together perfectly. and it is just a good phone on battery. That's just what it is, man. I mean, there's nothing about it. Apple has optimized this with their hardware. The software is optimized all together in a one big bundle, and it works flawlessly. Now, OnePlus, with their battery, I'm going to give it a chance. And I think it's going to improve in the next 5 to 10 days. Because there is a little bit of a period there where your phone needs to learn how you're going to use it. And I have the same apps on all of my devices. There's not a lot. I don't have a lot of applications on here. But I think that the battery over the last 2.5 days or so, 2 days, however long it is, using this, it's been fantastic for what it is. Now, I did look at screen on time, and it was like maybe 6.5 to 7, and it made it through a full day, obviously. But I was still expecting more for some reason. I was expecting more. So for me, in the first 48 hours, I've enjoyed the cameras are just such a great improvement. And these are pretty much the same cameras as the OnePlus 9 Pro minus the ultra wide camera. But they have somehow gotten this AI learning machine, and they got this device learned up really good, because the cameras are just spectacular. And I just really can't believe that I'm saying that about a OnePlus device. I cannot believe it. So 48 hours, this is what I have to report to you. I kind of don't like the front camera so much. And I have to be in really good lighting for the front camera to be to my standards. But the rear camera is definitely, it is on par with so many other phones out there. And it's definitely better than my OnePlus 9 Pro. So as far as battery goes, as a recap here, the battery is going to learn, and it's going to be better. For a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, not too impressed at the moment. I could turn my resolution down, but I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it at the highest resolution with the 120 hertz. I'm not going to pay. I paid 900 plus tax. It came to like $1,000, and I paid for overnight shipping. That was another 28 bucks. So I paid just a little over $1,000 for this with taxes and everything included. And I'm going to push it till I can push it no more. Now, I've already recorded a video on here. I recorded an update on the phone I'm using now, which is the S22 Ultra. I recorded the update on the S22 Ultra with this device, and everybody who commented on that said, whoa, you gotta be kidding. That's the OnePlus 10 Pro? Well, yes, it is. I have nothing to gain by lying to you. I'm using the devices itself, and I can show you here that I'm actually using the S20. Not that you don't believe me, but boom, there you go, on the tripod. There it is. So you see, I like to use the devices, and I'm not using any kind of microphones or anything either. As you can see, this is just all, and folks, I gotta tell you, I haven't been using Pro mode because HDR doesn't apply there. So I don't have the gains or anything turned up, but unless you can give me a trick or something to have HDR record in Pro mode, and I might need to just dig into the settings. I don't think there's any trick to it, but I just saw that I can do auto HDR plus with just shooting in regular video mode, and so I just started going with that. And to me, this is doing fantastic in pretty much all the videos. I like how punchy and vibrant. I like how it looks when it's producing the footage. But I use this device to record the update on the S22 Ultra, like I just said, and people said it was phenomenal. They just couldn't believe it was the OnePlus 10 Pro. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, that's another thing. So also the price, again, to recap, now that I have the device, and while I don't have a lot of my storage used, I still would have liked to seen 256 gig base with this model for the US, because they cut it back a little bit. My OnePlus 9 Pro has 256 gigs, and it's just been, even though I'm not using that all, when I have phones with that much storage, I tend to use them to record on the channel. So my S22 Ultra, I have a 512 gig S22 Ultra, so I'm definitely not deleting the footage right away, so I can go back and edit and stuff like that. But nonetheless, last thing I want to talk about is the performance of this operating system. And obviously it's based on Android. It's good. It's fluid. It doesn't feel like it's just pushing 8 gigs of RAM out of the box. It was actually set to RAM plus with +3, but I went on ahead and pushed it up to +5. So, it's good, man. I mean, the performance on here it's just what you think it should be. It's not going to be bad at all. It's going to be fluid, fast, and I think you'll be pleased with it. I don't think you'll have any problem with performance on this device. This is a OnePlus device, folks, and while they used to be flagship killers, now they're not flagship killers, but the performance it's good. I'm not going to knock that. Just because they're not offering these low prices, I'm not going to knock them for their performance, because it is actually really solid and smooth. No problems whatsoever. So anyway, it's your man Jay. Yeah, if you haven't seen my video, I did find, believe it or not, I found a frosted clear case. Check this out. It's all frost. And I'll leave a link to this down below. This has been just so sweet. I really like it. It reminds me of the old OnePlus cases that used to come in the box. So this is really smooth, really nice. I haven't purchased a screen protector because it has one on there. And again, you know, I'm not going to take this one off just because. So I have been thoroughly impressed with the OnePlus 10 Pro. And yeah, I'm happy I bought it, man. I don't have any regrets. And I haven't listened to anybody who says, "Ah, it's trash, you shouldn't have bought it." I don't listen to those people because I'm actually using it, literally using it, and it's been a pleasure for me. Everybody has a different need, a different want, but there's some things you cannot deny about this device. I would say the software is great. The cameras are now phenomenal. Battery life is going to improve over time. Price is on the weaker side for what it's offering. We need to start getting these OEMs, you know, to give more storage, give a little bit more. This is $900 I paid. So, but then, you know, hey, no headphone jack or whatever, that's fine. I've been using my old OnePlus Buds Z or whatever they are, and they paired up right away. It sounds good. I'm not buying the new OnePlus Buds because remember, I bought this at full cost through Best Buy because they had the green ones available right away. So I decided to do that, and then they gave me a $100 gift card with this. So I thought, you know what, that's a better deal to me than to get these OnePlus Buds, and I can take that $100 and spend it anywhere within Best Buy system. So yeah. There it is, a little bit of follow-up for you, discussion on the OnePlus 10 Pro 5G. Absolutely great, man. I am loving it. I'm glad I didn't get the black once again. I like this color, and I think it's great, man. So again, I am still totally shocked at the cameras on here. So if you haven't seen my original unboxing video, you got to check it out. There's just a ton going on in that video, and I'll show you video cameras. I'll show you a whole bunch. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.